Welcome to Lake 69 of the Great Loop aboard the Perch. I'm Kim Russo with America's Great Loop Cruisers Association, and today we have kind of a long run on the Mississippi River. We are going from Alton to an anchorage at the Kaskaskia River. So we took off bright and early. You can see the sun rising there by the bridge at Alton, and we would be heading out onto the river for a pretty long day, as I said. The Mel Price Lock and Dam is actually visible from the marina, so we had checked in with them before leaving and arranged a time to lock through when the lock workers felt like it was a good time to get some pleasure craft through, so we had just a short wait there before we were allowed to enter the chamber. The Mel Price Lock and a lot of the other locks here on the inland river system are just enormous compared to what we've seen before. There's a look at the floating bollard that you'll tie to, and those are actually doubled up. So if the top bollard is not really of the right spot for you, you can actually grab one that's a little bit lower to that. But this lock is 1,200 feet long, 110 feet wide. So just compare that to the locks we went through on the Erie Canal that are 328 feet long by 45 wide. So this is almost 4 times as long and twice as wide. So where that many boats in an Erie Canal lock would have filled it, there was obviously plenty of room there at Mel Price for us all to get in and to lock through as a group. And we continued on our way down the river. One of the highlights today will be passing the St. Louis Arch. So we're traveling with a group so that we can take pictures of each other when we do reach St. Louis and get to the Arch. But first, a couple of highlights. This is the Chain of Rocks Canal, and that is the sign that reminds you to go left to head for the lock. If you go right, you go over some rocks and rapids, and a boat did that last year. It wasn't the first time either, and it wasn't a looper boat, but it was a very dramatic time all over the media with this sailboat that was stuck on the chain of rocks. So you want to, by all means, go left at that sign, and that will take you to the lock and dam, which the purpose of the lock and dam there is to get you past that chain of rocks safely. So once you get through the Chain of Rocks lock, you are approaching St. Louis. You can see it's a little bit busier there on the riverbanks, and there is the arch. If you get right in front of it and line it up right, the buildings are framed by the arch, and it's really just quite beautiful. And as I said, we had some buddy boats there, so there's a picture they took of the perch in front of the arch, and you can see we did a little loop there as we were taking pictures of other boats. But once we finished all that, we continued downriver. You can see it's a busy area, lots of barges, some of them just kind of stored there on the side, and some actually actively being pushed by some tows. But the story on the Mississippi River, and it was the case on the Illinois River too, but the Mississippi River this year is very low. So if you are a member of AGLCA and if you've been following the forum, lots of concerns about what anchorages are viable. You can see in the video there, a lot of those wing dams and things are generally underwater. This is Michael's third time down the Mississippi on the Perch, and he's described it as vastly different to what he has seen in the past. That dock you see there was Hoppy's Marina. You can tie up there for the night. It's also a much needed fuel stop for many people. Hoppy's is smaller than it used to be because some of the barges that they use there for the marina are no longer in place, and the water's just low everywhere. So as I was saying, it's a little bit concerning for loopers where there are viable anchorages left, and there's not a whole lot of marinas in this area of the Mississippi River either. So there had been lots of chatter on the forum pointing out where people had safely been able to anchor and found enough water. We are headed for the Kaskaskia River. The Kaskaskia River has a lock there that is maintained and operated by the Corps of Engineers, and there's usually a wall separate from the lock where you can tie to for the night. No power or anything, but it's a safe place to tie up and not have to worry about things, how much water or whether the anchor is going to drag. That wall was not available when we were coming through because they are doing some dredging. So as we turned in, you can kind of see the dredges there. So we were able to bypass them. You can anchor there by the lock since the wall wasn't available. The wall has since been made available again. The dredging is finishing up. But there were 8 or 9 boats there in the anchorage. A lot of us had rafted up. Worked out just fine. The holding was good. We had enough water. So pleasant night at the anchorage. Overall, we had a almost 8-hour day underway. We went 73 nautical miles, averaged 9 knots, and maximum was about 12 and a half. So there's a look at the overall day's path. We will spend the night at this anchorage and then move on to another anchorage a little bit further down the Mississippi. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon.